I'm Jeff Schmitt. I'm the Assistant Dean for Graduate Programs at the University of Dayton School of Law. And I've been running this program on the Dayton side for a number of years. I think 7 or 8 years, maybe a little bit longer. I've taught most of the courses in the program, not all of them, but most of them. And I've been teaching at Dayton for 6 years. I was at a different school, or no, I'm sorry, 8 years. I was at a different school before that, a school down in Florida. So a little bit of background on the program. I'm sure a lot of you already have this information, but I would just like to present it anyway. And some highlights from the program. All of the courses are 100% online. In the past, we used to be in person in Seoul, but now that the DC bar allows for online credits, we're fully online. The classes are in real time predominantly. There are some recorded videos that we would ask you to watch, some exercises on the web page that we would ask you to complete. But for the most part, it's on Zoom in the evenings. It's a compressed schedule, which our students find attractive because instead of having to follow up and keep up with a traditional class throughout an entire semester, you can knock out a course in a couple of weeks in our program. And we have the courses arranged sequentially, meaning that, we focus in on a course. So if you're taking contracts, all you're doing is contracts for that 2 or 3 weeks. I think this is a good approach when you are taking the classes on a part-time basis, because you can keep it, when you're fully employed and you're busy with other things, because then it's much easier to keep the subject in mind. It's easier to focus on something. If we were doing 5 courses all at the same time in a traditional semester, it would be hard to keep it all straight. It would be hard to remember everything for the assessments, for the exams at the end. So that's our structure. I think it's one of the most convenient, probably by far the most convenient way to take law courses with an ABA law school. And that's important for most of our students because they intend to take the bar exam. Not everyone, but most of our students are taking the courses to satisfy the requirements for the bar exam. Now, there are a number of jurisdictions in the United States that accept online credits. The jurisdiction that I think every student from this program has taken is the Washington, D.C. bar exam. And I just want to clarify something here before we move on, and that is that the United States does not have one single bar exam or one single license to be an attorney. Instead, attorneys are licensed in each state, in each jurisdiction. And then if you have passed the bar in any state, well, then you are an attorney in the United States and you can waive into other jurisdictions on a limited basis. And you can practice in federal court. You can do everything that would be national in scope, but you're licensed within a particular jurisdiction. Our students typically take Washington, D.C. because of the requirements for the bar exam. Many other jurisdictions would require you to have a JD in Korea, whereas Washington, D.C. does not. Washington, D.C. requires you to have a first degree in law, but they define it differently than other jurisdictions. I would refer you to their website. You can look at their guidance. I can send you links if you would like. But our program is designed to satisfy the U.S. education requirements. So when you look at the D.C. bar rules, they tell you that you need to have a first degree in law. That would be your degree, presumably from Korea. And then you need to take courses with a U.S. law school, an ABA accredited law school, and you need to take 26 credits of bar tested subjects. So that's what this program provides, is 26 credits of bar tested subjects. And it also has a pathway to an LLM degree. So if you're not familiar with the LLM degree, it is the standard degree that foreign attorneys take in the United States so that they show that they have a good basis in U.S. law, and it often qualifies you, of course, as I'm discussing, for the bar exam. The LLM degree is a master in laws. It's seen as a master's degree. Again, a master's degree for foreign attorneys who have a specialization in or a background in U.S. law. Other LLM degrees would give you a concentration in a particular area. For example, you could get an LLM in tax or an LLM in intellectual property law or something like that. Those types of LLMs are not going to get you ready for the bar, right? Those types of LLMs are going to give you deep knowledge in one particular area. Our LLM is a different variety. It is giving you a background in U.S. law generally for foreign attorneys. To take that LLM to get the degree from our non-degree program, what you would have to do is get a B average, which I think is very attainable, right? We have a B GPA. The B is our average grade. So when we curve the class, we want the average to be a B. So as long as you're averaging about average for the class, then you can apply your credits towards an LLM degree, which means that, of course, you're showing that you understand the material, and you then would just need to take 4 credits of additional courses to get the degree. And those credits would be in a writing course, or actually 2 courses that have a writing component. And then you would, in addition to the non-degree program, you would get the LLM degree. Here's the curriculum. And these courses are all of the double bar tested courses. What I mean by that is on the UBE, the Uniform Bar Exam that they have in Washington, D.C. and most other jurisdictions in the country, these subjects are tested twice, at least potentially. These are the only subjects on the multiple choice portion of the exam, which is half of your score. And then on the essay part of the exam, these are also subjects that might be tested. There are additional subjects, though. We do not cover everything in this program. So even when you're done with this program, you can't just go and take the bar exam, right? I mean, you could, but you probably will not be successful. You need to study other subjects that we don't cover. So even though you're taking this program, this is going to get you qualified to take the bar exam. You're going to want to do extra studying in addition to this program. There are a number of commercial bar prep vendors out there that do an excellent job of preparing you for the exam and that will give you what you need to know in the subjects that we don't cover. To meet the DC bar requirements, we have to concentrate in a single subject in each course. But there are other subjects you need to know, like family law, business associations, etc., so that you can succeed on the essays on the bar exam. When we take these courses, though, we're going to learn a lot about legal writing and how to write a law school essay, a successful bar exam essay. And that's going to help you on the MPT. We're even going to do practice MPTs in the program. That is the multi-state performance test, which is 1/4 of your score on the bar exam. That is essentially a skills test where you're going to get cases and you're going to get background information, a factual story, and they're going to ask you to analyze it like a lawyer. Well, we're going to get some practice with those types of scenarios as we go through these subjects. When I teach the course, this is my approach, and my colleagues generally follow the same approach when they teach the other courses. Now, this winter, I'm going to be teaching criminal law and criminal procedure. I'm going to teach the first 2 courses, and then one of my colleagues is going to teach evidence. This is the basic framework. I know he is doing the same thing as me. The basic framework here is that we understand or we assume that you know how to think like a lawyer, right? A big focus of U.S. legal education is getting students able to think like a lawyer, think through problems, and engage in logical reasoning. Well, that is not exactly my goal in this program. My goal in this program is not to teach you how to think. I assume that you already know how to do that. Instead, what I'm trying to do is just teach you the law and get you comfortable with applying the law in the way they're going to expect you to do it on the bar exam. And so what that means is I am going to lecture much more in this program than I do in my JD classes. In my JD classes, we are heavy in the case method. And so I will assign a large number of cases. The students will then come to class, and we will generally just go back and forth on the meaning of the cases. That is a good way to teach case reading, and I think a good way to teach oral advocacy and engagement with legal arguments, but it's a really inefficient way to teach doctrine, right? If we do it that way, it takes a very long time to get through the material, which is why in my contracts class in the JD program, I have 6 credits and we cover it over an entire academic year. We're going to do contracts in 3 weeks. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to do a fair amount of lecture. I'm going to start by giving you some context, some background. I'm then going to lecture on the doctrine itself. We're then going to go through some cases as examples. So you can see the law in action. You can see what we're talking about in a concrete application. We're then going to cover hypotheticals. These hypotheticals are going to give you good practice with multiple choice. They're not always going to be multiple choice hypotheticals, but you'll see what the questions will look like on an exam. And of course, it's going to test your understanding of the law in the way, hopefully, the cases will be helpful for those hypotheticals. And then at the end of the unit, I usually have practice essays. Now, I don't have them at the end of every class session, but usually every other class session, maybe every 3 class sessions, I'm going to give you a practice essay. Now, those practice essays are meant to be helpful. They're meant to prepare you for the final exam. They are not something that I want students to worry about. The grades in these courses are 100% based on the final exam. So we do work throughout the course. I try to give you opportunities for practice, for feedback from me, but it is not strictly required in the sense of homework or graded activities. It's really meant to be helpful. And these cases that I'm referring to, they're linked in the syllabus. So you're going to have a syllabus that maps out what we're going to cover. And for each class period, there are going to be hyperlinks to cases. I highly encourage you to look at those before class as much as possible, but I understand that people have limitations in the amount of time that they have, and I know that not every student has the time to get to everything before class. But those cases are there if you want, if you have the ability to go and look at them. You do not have to buy additional resources. And so the other component here I would mention is the MPT exams. I try to do one of those a term at least, so that you're getting at least 2 of them in your experience in the non-degree program.